Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews, as well as a number of senior ministers, including Lisa Neville and Martin Pakula, could face a grilling over alleged breaches of workplace safety laws that hotels used in Victoria's hotel quarantine program. It's a big story, one with a long way yet to run. Someone involved with this issue for a long time is the man I spoke about in my editorial, Chief Executive of Self-Employed Australia, Mr Ken Phillips. He joins me now from Melbourne. Ken, let's just take people back through some of this history. You wrote to WorkSafe Victoria back in September last year, alleging 142 breaches of the Victorian OH&S Act, including alleged breaches by Daniel Andrews, Lisa Neville, Martin Pakula. Tell me about a letter you received last week from WorkSafe Victoria.
Well, it was a very short letter, just 2 sentences, and it did 2 critical things. It referenced the fact that we had written to the WorkSafe, and it then said that it is investigating the individuals and entities that we have named. So that really effectively confirmed that the individuals that we named in the letter of the 29th of September are under investigation.
And these are serious, allegations that have been put. They are relating to criminal matters. Give us a sense of what sort of process happens from here on in once the investigation is underway. What's the normal process in something like this?
Well, we have utilised a provision in the Act that then requires WorkSafe itself to do certain things. They don't have an option here. They have very specific things that they have to do. So the timelines at the moment are by the end of March. They have to reply to us or to me and say whether or not they are undertaking prosecutions, or they can ask for another 3 months of investigation. That then means that by the end of June, they must again, by that time, announce that they are undertaking the prosecutions or they are not. If they decide not to undertake prosecutions on any one of the 142 incidents that we have identified, they must write to us and give us a full explanation as to why not. We are then entitled to request the reference of those non-prosecutions to the Director of Prosecutions of Victoria. And that's where the situation, the immediate term, sits. The WorkSafe Authority doesn't have an option with this. They are required under the Act to do just as I have explained.
Yeah, and it's interesting you make the point that the Act is very specific and it has very powerful compulsion powers, evidence powers that weren't there in the Board of Inquiry, which was the Coate Inquiry. It had much lesser grade powers in order of the fact-finding. Are you confident in the process that there will be some sort of outcome that looks into these matters in a way, I have to say, this is my opinion, maybe not yours, in a way that is far better for Victorians and justice than what we saw last year?
Well, the provisions, the powers under the health and safety laws under the particular Act vastly exceed those of the Coate Inquiry. There is almost nothing that the WorkSafe Authority can't investigate. They are able to go down and must go down every rabbit burrow with a view to whether or not the breaches that we say of the Act have occurred require prosecutions. And of course, this is one of those situations where we simply cannot forget that 801 people have died as a result of COVID breaking out of the quarantine situation. If, for example, a factory in Melbourne had blown up and the same situation had occurred, and we had 801 deaths as a result of toxic gases coming out of a fire at a factory, the prosecutions, in our view, would have occurred very, very rapidly, or at least the investigations would have occurred almost immediately. But we're now almost 12 months since the occurrences occurred or started to occur, and we're still hanging out to see where the investigation sits.
Now, I approached WorkSafe Victoria today to see whether they'd give us any information. You had named 20 individuals in your original letter last year, 4 senior politicians and 16 bureaucrats, and you wanted them specifically investigated. WorkSafe Victoria wouldn't confirm to me which individuals or all of those 20 were included in their remit. I went to the Premier's office and we have yet to get a response. It's been with them all day, but we've yet to get anything back from the Premier's office. I would argue, the lawyer in me would argue, if there is a Premier or a Jobs Minister or a Health Minister or anybody else who is subject to serious criminal investigations, surely we should know who they are, and then surely there's a real argument that they have to stand aside.
Well, I stay focused on the job that we're doing. Their position in terms of whether they stand aside or not, I'd leave that for others to comment on. But the lawyers that are advising me, I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyers who are advising me tell me that the WorkSafe Authority have no option. They must, under law, investigate each of the people that we have identified. Now, the letter that we have written is on our website, so anyone can go and have a look. We're quite open and public, and we publish the replies from WorkSafe. But I'm advised that at law they have no choice but to undertake the full investigation of each of the people and the entities that we have identified.
All right, Ken Phillips, we will watch this with interest. You've got 2 milestone dates there, you said. March and June, July. We'll stay across them and we'll stay in contact with you. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.